Lights.
Thank you. Turn up the lights. All right, I'm ready.
All right, everybody, welcome. This is Alan Davidson, and I'm here in support of Mr. Brad Blanton and Tabor Shadburn. So if you can hear us, go ahead and type a little Y in the chat. Just let us know that you're here and that you can hear us, and maybe tell us where you're from. And I know it takes a minute or two for the chat to update live for us. So we're really here to serve you this evening. We want to, what are your questions that you have about radical honesty and the radical honesty lifestyle? What questions do you have about the course? The course goes live tonight. And so, you know, we want to make sure that you get the maximum benefit out of our time over the next hour or so that we're together. We're also going to try an adventure. We have a new whole system here. So if some of you would like to try to ask a question, there's a way that you can sort of raise your hand and we can choose you, and if you've got a Gmail account, we can actually see you on audio and video. So we'd like to try that and just see how the system works for us. So if you're willing to experiment with us, we'd love to have it. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Brad Blanton and Mr. Tabor Shadburn, and take it away.
All right. Hi, Lorraine, Lori, Brian, Jack, Brian, Jerry, Dave, Lorraine, Tabor. Thanks for tuning in. This is when he says that we're launching live tonight, it means that the course actually starts tonight. You can still enroll and do the course without starting tonight, because basically you'll get sent the stuff and you can start at any time. And basically this is the last chance that's going to be here to enroll in this version of the course. So the course is called Radical Honesty: How to Get Over Shit and Be Happy. I've got a little bit of ocean noises in the background. Can you hear any of that, you guys? Nope?
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
I don't either. Maybe the ocean in my speakers is up too high. Now, that makes it a little quieter, maybe. All right, folks, so what we're going to do, Tabor and I are going to talk a little bit about the story of this online course. We've been working on this for more than 4.5 years, and we have taken much longer than we should have, but we didn't know what we were doing. We've run lots of live workshops before, and I've written lots and lots of books before, and we've talked about it a lot before, and we've conducted a lot of hot seat work and a lot of interactions and interviews with people for 45 years. And what we're trying to do is to refine down the essence of what the benefits are of good group and individual psychotherapy. That people who get benefit from awareness therapy or from Gestalt therapy, or the kinds of therapies that pay attention to experience, what are the benefits they get, and can they be taught directly? And that's why we invented the 8-day workshop and conducted it for about 22 years. And that's why we have developed this Reader's Digest condensed version of a workshop called How to Get Over Shit and Be Happy. So we're pretty happy with the way things have come out, and many of you have seen some of the videos on the introductory part of this, and we're opening up the course for another 5 sessions and 2 webinars that will be available to you, and we're hoping to give you like $10,000 worth of psychotherapy for like $395, which is a hell of a deal. That's what we're doing.
Half that actually, because it's a 2-for-1 deal.
That's right. You actually get 2 for the price of 1, so it's only about like, I don't know, less than $200 for 2 people to become completely goddamn enlightened.
That's what I was going to add, is that we're distilling down not only the benefits of psychotherapy, but the benefits of spiritual practice, which is one of the heartening developments in psychology and psychotherapy in the last 100 years or less, half that, maybe 50 years, is that insights and west of serious spiritual practice are being integrated into the practice of psychotherapy, at least amongst the leading edge of psychotherapy. And that's what we are. That's where we're hanging now.
Okay. I can hear a little bit of fade out and fade in. Tabor, I think stay the same distance from the mic, or?
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. So we have a fair number of questions that we'd like to respond to, and then when one of you wants to talk to us directly, I think there is a way. How do they signal that they want you to contact them, Alan?
In the chat, there's a way to ask a question and raise their hand. So if you want to try that, then let us know, and we'll see if we can communicate with you. So.
We got one good question here from Brian. It says, how do you differentiate between anger, hurt, and anxiety in your body? What are the physical sensations that go with those emotions? That is a great question. First of all, there is no completely dependable way of distinguishing between them, or no uniform way that any given emotion shows up in your body. There do tend to be trends. Like sadness tends to be kind of heavy and downward draining, whereas anger tends to be hot and tight, and and they tend to show up in places of the body. Like anger more likely in your jaws and your shoulders and your arms and your solar plexus and stuff like that, and sadness more in your chest. But there is no real way to know that for sure. The thing is that when you try on, you get more and more intuitive about it over time, and then when you try on speaking it, you get to notice how your speaking impacts your sensation. And when you're speaking it correctly, when you're speaking it accurately, there is a change in the way that you feel. It's sort of like if you forgot something. Say you forgot somebody's name, or you forgot something that you were supposed to do tomorrow, and you can't remember it. And you say, was it that? No, it wasn't that. No. Was it that? No, that's not it. That's it. Well, how is it that you know that that's it? It's like something lines up, something clicks in your body. There's a resonance that happens, and it's very satisfying. And it's the same thing when you
go ahead.
When you accurately name the way that you're feeling, there's this feeling of rightness. Yeah, that is how I'm feeling. And it moves the feeling along.
Yeah, the thing is that the accuracy is recorded by being with it. It doesn't, in a way, it doesn't make any difference what the label is for the experience. It's that you, at the level of sensation, you experience the experience. It doesn't matter whether it's more anger than hurt, or more hurt than anger, or if it's grief that you need to process more than anger. There'll be some anger in the grief. The point is, it doesn't matter what the labels for the names of the emotions are. What matters is that you're willing to experience the experience of sensations in your body. So when you feel a sort of a tightness in your stomach and a tension in your chest and a kind of a gripping of your jaws, and you say something like angry about something, and you get into that feeling, then what happens is the experience at the level of sensation is valid, and the level of sensation is a more valid place to be to process stuff than to worry about which is the proper label. So sometimes people are avoiding their grief by playing like they're angry, and they permit anger but they don't permit grief. And sometimes people permit grief but not anger, and sometimes anger but not grief. People try to experience some emotion other than what it is by insisting that it's something other than it is. And what I say is, it doesn't matter so much what the label is. It's whether or not you can get to it at a level of sensation. Because the way you get over shit is through your body. through the quality of your attention to your experience in your body, and through the quality of your experience, the quality of attention of your experience of relating to another person. So it's okay, you can guess what the names are, and later you'll have a better idea of which labels fit better, which kinds of sensations for you. But basically what's important is getting it down to the level of sensation.
Yes. Although in my experience, naming it, some names are truer than others. So if that person, as you said, is avoiding that they're angry by saying, "Oh, I'm just so hurt, I'm so sad," that that kind of forces them to be less in touch with the sensation. Whereas
Yes, that's right.
when you name it correctly, it kind of gooses that sensation along. It's like, "Oh yeah, I feel it more intensely now that I named it correctly."
Yeah. So it's a process of getting in touch with the experience and anything that enhances the experience rather than running away from the experience.
Yes, yes, exactly. Jason says, "I'm having trouble finding a girlfriend that I really click with and forming a relationship that helps both of us flourish. Will learning and practicing radical honesty help?"
Yes and no. Yes, it probably will, but the radical honesty greatly improves your odds of getting an interaction that that's what we call intimacy. That is, you can't have intimacy without honesty. But it doesn't mean necessarily that honesty will always immediately bring you intimacy. It's a process, but it's one of those things that's called a necessary but not sufficient condition. That is,
Yeah.
you can be radically honest but not pay very good attention to what's going on with your partner or potential mate. And if you're honest but you're not paying very good attention, it's not going to work out so well. So it's a necessary but not sufficient condition.
It's also sort of a paradoxical fix because the way that it will increase your chances is by supporting you in becoming less and less attached to getting your way and having everything that you want on your timetable. So you will get better at putting out there what you want, asking for what you want, sharing your feelings, but also not uh, being attached to controlling how the other person responds to that. So, on the one hand, you could say that is, unlike a lot of these pickup trainings, which are really sort of built around how to manipulate women, this is not that. But the truth is that women of quality and character will feel that you are not too attached to making them like you, and that will be a big relief to them, and they will probably feel more drawn to you as a result.
Right. You do be more successful as a jerk than you do as a pro. So, let's see. Kate wants to know, where's the link to sign up for the course?
That's a good question.
Alan, can you tell her?
Well, I posted the link in the chat there, and I also went ahead and loaded the offer. So on the right-hand side, people in the audience can actually see the Radical Honesty logo with a button that says add to cart. So it's right there, and you can click that, and you can go ahead, and what will happen is you'll be taken to a page where you actually create your account for the How to Get Over Shit course. And once you do that, you click a link and it'll take you right to the PayPal so that you can go ahead and make your payment through PayPal, and then you'll have immediate access to the course, the playbook. The first module goes live this evening, and you're good to go.
All right, so I see it's up there. It says Alan Davidson. It's right under Jason saying ha 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 ha. All right, Jason. Thanks. All right, thanks. I'm glad to see that, Alan. People can actually sign up for this course if they want to. That's a great thing. All right. So, anybody trying to signal to ask us a question directly yet?
Yeah, they are. Katie did, and so let me invite her as a speaker, and let's see what happens. We're inviting her, Katie, as a speaker. So let's just see. I don't see her coming on yet. So let me play with this, and let's see if we have another question from the audience. Is there something else about the radical honesty that you would like to ask? Here's your chance.
Roman asks, what about being radically honest with your children? If I am mad at a child, should I also express it?
No. What I'd like there, I have a book called Radical Parenting. After the child is 11 or 12 years old, you can start processing resentments and appreciations. Until then, it's up to you to handle it on your own without taking it out on the child. The child doesn't have the capacity to understand the interpretations that you're communicating until they're about 10 years old, 10 or 11. And so basically, you have to handle processing your anger and your hurt feelings and your resentment of the children by talking to your partner or other adults, and you have to be able to care for those children. You can tell them in minimalist ways without long explanations that you don't like that and you don't want to do that, and they'll tell you. And basically you can have a communication, but you're not doing full-blown processing with children until they're 11 or 12 years old.
Yeah.
And there's more about this in Radical Parenting. Go ahead.
I imagine it's about, neither trying to lie about or suppress how you actually are feeling, but also doing as well as you can to handle your feelings yourself and not take kids' behavior personally. But if you're around your kids and you're obviously upset, then you may just say, well, Daddy's really frustrated right now, but we're just gonna, keep on, or I really would like you to stop doing that right now because I'm getting pretty frustrated right now, or something like that. So it's kind of a, simple. It's like a reporting what's going on without expressing it directly.
You can be a little bit meaner with adults, but you can't be that. You have to hold it back a little bit with kids. And there's a great deal more detail about this in the book, Radical Parenting. Okay. So
there's a question, Brad, about PayPal that I wanted to address from Kate. And Kate, yes, at this time PayPal is the only option, but please do know that PayPal gives you that you can log into a PayPal account and pay that way, or you can simply check an option to use PayPal to pay with your Visa or MasterCard. So that's totally up to you. So you can pay with your Visa, MasterCard, or you can pay through your PayPal account. So you have the option to do that.
And you just do the credit card through PayPal.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
And they handle all the processing on their end. Particularly people who live internationally are more comfortable with PayPal because they feel like they can really trust that their transactions are going to be secure and safe. So that part we do know.
So I'm very happy to say that we know we've already got over 80 people that are going to be taking the course, and that basically we're hoping it gets up over maybe like 100 or so. But we're going to have a community of people who are learning together, and people in pairs will be sharing with other people in pairs what they learn in their own processing, and that's a very, very rich community of support. And so I'm really looking forward to it because the times that we spend communicating with each other, including paired partners communicating, but also including people communicating via writing to each other about what went on in their processing, builds a community of support that's very, very valuable and very valid for all of us. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. Okay, can you hear me okay? Alan, when you put out your mic, I can't hear you anymore. Can you all hear me? I can't tell if I'm being heard.
Yes, we can hear you just fine. I was just myself.
Okay, great. Thanks.
There was a question that somebody else had. Oh, they asked for the days of the actual modules and the times of the calls. So I just posted that on the side there, Kate. So there is when each of the modules are going to be released over the next 5 weeks, and then the 2 bonus live Q&A calls. And the first one actually is 2 days from today.
The 2 bonus Q&A calls, you said that a little too quickly. There are 2 bonus webinars with Tabor and I working with people online. That's what
yes, actually coaching and working through them. And the first one is 2 days from today. It is Thursday evening. So, and those will be about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard U.S. time. So I think Nell is in Australia and was asking about that.
Okay.
And please also know, Nell, that we do know that Brad and Tabor have fans all over the world. So if for whatever reason you can't be live on those Q&A webinars, you can submit your question ahead of time, and they will do their best to answer that for you. It won't be the experience of coaching live with them, but you can submit your questions ahead of time, and they will get them for you.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a lot of work for us. I hope you guys appreciate for this little pittance you have to pay. Years and years.
So Magdi asks, what if radical honesty hurts the partner?
Uh-huh.
We've never heard that question before.
No. Tabor, you're an expert on that.
Okay. So, several answers to that. One is that part of the art of radical honesty is that what you are doing is describing your own experience rather than blaming someone. The way that people usually express anger is like, you're a shithead, and you shouldn't have done that thing that you did, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself, or why did you do that to me? All of that is what we'd call blaming and not what we call radical honesty. Radical honesty is naming your own experience out loud. I'm really hot in my face right now, and I'm mad at you for, showing up at 7:15. Well, that's a whole different level of self-responsibility, and that's what we're helping people do. Now, will another person sometimes be upset about hearing you say that? Yeah, they might. And is that your responsibility? No, not really. So,
even though there is something you can do to help, and that is to stick with them.
Yeah.
And not go away, not run away when they're going through their process. You stay with them even if they're mad at you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and it can also be helpful to, tell them beforehand, okay, I want to talk to you about how I'm angry. Will you listen? To intentionally start the conversation. And then you have their buy-in. Yes, I'm listening. If they say, now's not a good time, you say, okay, well, when are we going to talk about this? And you set it up intentionally.
And it has to be done face-to-face. It can't be done on the phone or indirectly. Yes, keep going. Sorry, I keep inserting.
No, that's all right. The peanut gallery has much important information to add. Yeah, we like to say that in person is definitely by far and away the best. Skype is a distant second. Third is an even more distant. Phone is an even more distant third, and written communication is the Satan of emotional clearing.
Yeah, that's right.
Which people often try to hide behind because they're scared of a more direct face-to-face interaction.
So the answer is that yes, people do get hurt by what you say, and that you tell them, I'll stick with you until you get over being hurt. The thing that people don't realize who've been avoiding being hurt all their lives is that you can actually get over being hurt quicker than you did when you were littler. Because if you pay attention to it and take responsibility for it, it'll come and go in a couple of minutes. So you stick with people when they're mad at you, and you stick with people when they're hurt by what you say, and you do the same thing when you're hurt or angry back with them. That level of connection, even if it's through anger or through hurt, is the source of intimacy. It's hard for people to get that, generally.
And technically speaking, they aren't hurt by your words or what you express. They they see you, they hear you, and then depending on how they interpret what you say or do. They feel what they feel. So some people will listen to what you have to say and say, oh, thanks for being so open and honest with me. Somebody else might take it more personally, feel more sad or mad or whatever about what you have to say. That's individual difference, and you really ultimately have no control over how other people interpret your words and expressions.
Okay, thank you. That's a good question.
I've got a question here about the course, Brad.
Okay.
Lori said she invested in the course a couple days ago and hadn't found where the Radical Honesty Playbook was. So it is in there, Lori. There's this unique tab for it. So once you're logged into your account, you'll be able to see a tab for the Radical Honesty Playbook. Also, just on the welcome page that you go to, there's also a link directly to it. It is an online PDF file version of the book, and one reason for that is there are links to videos that support the training and experience that you have in the playbook. So, but you get immediate access to it. You can log on right now, and you should be able to find it.
Okay. And if you have is there an indication of where it is on the page, or is it in the upper right or the middle, or anything hard to see? Is it easy to find?
Say that again.
Is it easy to find?
Yes, should be. So.
Okay. All right. If you can't find it, you can ask Alan, and he'll tell you.
Yeah. So Dave Brown had a question.
Yeah.
I think there might be some confusion. Yes, Dave, this is not the module 1 of the course. This is indeed the last promotional event for the launch. So the module is going live tonight, and that pre-recorded training will be available in just a few minutes, actually. So that is correct. So you log on to howtogetovershitandbehappy.com, and the modules will be there very shortly.
Yeah, and Dave, you said this seems like another promotional evening. You're right, very perceptive it is. And also, going on, it's starting in just a few minutes is the first evening of the course, where there are actually 2 modules of the course, and they're good. I mean, even if we do say so ourselves, they're pretty damn good.
So there are a couple of questions from Jerry and Roman again that are really good questions if you want to take a stab at those.
Yeah, I see Jerry. Jerry says, when I was writing down all the stuff I lie about, I had a hard time coming up with stuff. Does that mean that probably I have a ton of shit that I've blocked, or am I not too bad off? I like the question. Yes, the answer to that question is yes. You probably do have a bunch of shit that you blocked, and you're probably not that bad off. But I really like the question. When you're trying to write down all the stuff that you feel like you ought to be mad about, or trying to figure out what you're mad about, it's kind of using the cognitive mind instead of paying attention. What you do is you review things that you think might be an issue, and then you pay attention to your body. Mostly the information is in your actual reactive experience. So we'll be coaching you throughout the course on how to get better at being able to come up with what it is you actually resent, what you actually appreciate, what you actually have used to hurt yourself with, and stuff like that. So that's not a complete answer, but the answer yes means yes, there's some stuff you're skipping over, and yes, you're not too bad off.
And there's kind of a range. There's practicing radical honesty sort of moves from the gross to the subtle, in the sense that some people come to us who've been sitting on the fact that they, had sex with their wife's sister 10 years ago for 10 years, and they're getting ulcers and blah, blah, blah. So they got big secret keeping that's fucking up their lives in a big way. Some people, not so much. as you stay with it, you realize that it gets subtler and subtler. Like the exercise that we had you do, sometimes I pretend. Now, I asked Jerry if she had done that, and she said by myself. But that doesn't quite count, doing it by yourself. The the point is that we have these subtle ways in which we present ourselves to others, which aren't the whole truth. We call it pretending. Another name for that is lying. It's not mean-spirited. It's not ill-willed, but it's just a kind of anxious, chronic habit that we have of trying to censor and pretty up ourselves and put the proper spin on ourselves in such a way that we think other people will like. In fact, we're even doing it to ourselves. We're busy spinning ourselves to ourselves. So then we buy our own press, and we believe what we're telling other people. But the better you get at noticing, the better you get at meditating, the better you get at practicing this out loud interpersonal meditation that we call radical honesty, the better you will get at noticing the subtler and subtler truths about yourself, which you sometimes have a stake in avoiding, because it can be sort of embarrassing. It's sort of like, oh shit, I'm more judgmental, or I'm more petty, or I'm more whatever than I thought I was. And so at first it feels like bad news, but then you get to become more and more yourself about who you really are, and then more compassionate with everybody else, and then it's easier to love yourself and other people through your courageous honesty.
All right. So, Alan, thanks for the notes you're telling people, all the information you're giving in response to their questions about logging in and about signing up for the course and about when the course is delivered and all that stuff. Well, I appreciate you for taking care of all that.
Yeah.
All right.
There is a question here by Roman. Where did it go? That I thought was a good question. And you sort of addressed it in a way with one of the other questions, but Roman asked, how do you get over shit with a person who is justifying himself and not actually willing to be honest with you?
Well, first of all, you're mad at him because your interpretation is that the person is justifying themselves. So there's something they said or did that you interpreted as them justifying themselves. And so you say to them, your resentment, which is, I resent you for saying. Now, that's the advanced coaching part of this. What we're trying to do in this online course is present to you a sequence of skills that you get good at, so that when you get down to doing the really hard stuff, like forgiving someone that you're angry at, that you can do a better job of it because you know how and where to pay attention, what to say, what to communicate with them, and to not get lost in some long-winded explanation about how bad it is that they're so defensive, and etc. Because basically, what needs to be healed in you is you speaking simply, describing what your reactions are to specific things they did or said. And so it's always a matter of you getting better and better at clearing yourself without them having to change their behavior. And as long as you have a condition that they have to change their behavior in order for you to be finished, you're already maintaining something that's a constant thing of resistance to you getting over things. It's difficult. That's one of the hard things about being in relationships. And you start trying it and learning how to pay attention to the experience, so you can have it increase, then recede, then go away.
Another way of saying what Brad was saying is the reason that our first course is what we call the foundations of radical honesty is that you have to start really getting in your bones certain key distinctions which make the farther reaches of radical honesty possible. For instance, that exercise that I think we previewed in the pre-launch videos about sometimes I notice and I imagine. So when you said, how do you get over it with somebody who's busy justifying themselves, you spoke your imagining about that person as if it was the truth. You didn't say, how do you get over it with somebody when you imagine that they are being defensive with you? You see, that would be taking responsibility for your judgment about them. The truth is,
Amen.
there's no such thing out in the world as somebody being defensive or justifying themselves. Now, a number of us may take a poll and agree, yeah, we think that that person is, but still, that's really just an interpretation of the way that they're moving their mouth and making noises and shaking their head and whatnot. So our job, as taking 100% responsibility for our experience, is to notice that we are the one imputing judgment to them of being defensive or justifying themselves. And as Brad said, the way that we express our honesty is without attachment to controlling how they respond to it. It's not about getting them to behave in some way. It's about expressing yourself as its own reward.
Yeah, good. So, Alan, there are a few questions about, has the first module material been released already? Is there any way we can know that?
Not while we're on here, but I certainly expect in the next 20 minutes, so it'll be absolutely available for sure. So.
Okay. All right, good. It's about 20 till 10. Yeah.
Just to clarify for anyone who hasn't heard it yet, what that course looks like. The course starts tonight and will stretch over a span of 5 weeks and have 6 modules in it, which we will send you. The modules we send you will be videos of workshops and instruction and stuff like that with homework assignments. And we want you to buddy up and go through those modules and do exercises with your partner or partners. And there will be 2 live Q&A webinars like this one, where we will be helping people who are in the course to implement it and answering questions. And we'll be on those for probably an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how many questions we're getting. But that'll be our live coaching time with you to help answer any questions that you have coming up in implementing the modules that we're sending you.
Good. I want to say that I've been thinking a lot about, we will have such a community of people that become friends with each other. We'll probably have to have some kind of convention toward the end of the year, maybe one on the West Coast, one on the Midwest, and one on the East Coast. We'll invent all that together as we talk to each other, but probably there's going to be a community that where a lot of people meet each other face to face. We'll probably have some kind of gathering, and we may have these gatherings recur as we reconduct the online course with lots and lots of groups of people. So we're going to probably be doing this with hundreds and hundreds of people over the course of the next year or so. And there will be so many people coming by to couch surf, you'll want to say, damn, I wish I'd get rid of these radical honesty people.
And I'm a traveling itinerant preacher for Radical Honesty, so I go around and conduct live workshops in different communities that are interested in having workshops in their community. So if you get inspired by the online course, then you can reach out to me and we can co-organize a live workshop in your area, because we ultimately want to seed and support ongoing live
local communities,
of people who practice with each other, because this is important. We have bowed to the ubiquity of the internet and are using that tool to help get the word out. But ultimately, of course, this is a face-to-face practice, so we want to build communities of people who are practicing together. And
so, Tabor, your picture is coming on and off. Okay, it's fixed now. Go ahead. Never mind. Sorry. There was a little flutter in there. I don't know if they got your last set of words or not.
Oh, I said that we have bowed to the ubiquitous influence of the internet to help us get our message out there, but ultimately we want to keep moving you along to face-to-face, real-time practice with a conscious community of friends around you. And
Yeah, and I want to say that there are some other radical honesty trainers, and they're located in different locations all around the world. And there are people who are trained in radical honesty somewhere around 50 or so people who are really trained and are actually radical honesty trainers. And then there's a few hundred other people who are imbued in radical honesty and working to become trainers. And there is a community of support probably somewhere near where you live. And we'll get into that as we get to know each other better over the course of this ongoing group. So, if you want to sign up for this, there is a way to do it, and it's all here. And if you want to get a friend to sign up, you can do that. And if you want to find a friend to pair up with you to do it, y'all can split the price if you want, or you can pay for it and give it to them, or they can pay for it and give it to you. But the idea is that people start consciously going to work on this internal and external revolution that has to do with being able to have relationships based on honesty more than on performance. So that's what we're about, and that's what we're trying to enroll you in right now.
Lorraine asked, can you ever really get over your childhood? And Tom Robbins said, it's never too late to have a happy childhood, which I like very much. So what you can do is you can re-engage your childhood. You can feel your way through your childhood, and you can detoxify your childhood, and you can totally change your relationship with your childhood. Will you continue to be a product of your childhood? Sure. But like I like to say that your childhood bequeathed you with what I call the sacred wound. There was a certain kind of pain that you endured coming through your childhood the way that you did. But that sacred wound is also the source of your strengths and your gifts. If you really engage it well, you will find that your purpose, your life purpose, is the flip side of the coin of those same hurts that you endured as you were coming up. So you will continue to have your childhood, but you can use it instead of being used by it.
Good. Couldn't have said that better myself.
Well, good.
All right.
Kate had a question. Just that she's traveling and has some technical difficulties and can't quite figure out PayPal tonight. Can they register for tomorrow? And I said I would personally send them the direct link that they could register in the morning. But just know that at midnight tonight, Los Angeles time, the sales page is closing. And we are radical honesty. When we say the cart closes, the shopping cart closes at midnight, it does. So, if you've got an issue like that, we're happy to work with you and make sure you get the access that you want. But let us know now so we can make sure that we can help you tomorrow.
All right, good. All right. Well, thanks for all the thanks, everybody. I've got lots of people thanking us for what we're saying, and they evidently like the way we're answering these questions.
Brian says, Brad, I notice your face is pink.
My face is pink. Yes, it is.
The pinkness of his face is greatly exaggerated in this particular content.
I think maybe I'm chronically embarrassed.
Well, you look pinker on my screen than I know you to be.
Yeah, I look a little pinker than I think I actually look, too. I don't know.
He's feeling in the pink.
I guess I'm in the pink.
Well, you're looking rather tanned yourself, Tabor.
I'm just back from teaching in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to probably close this down in about 10 or 15 minutes. Is that right? I think about an hour is enough for this time. Is that right?
Yeah, totally is. So if you've got questions for Brad and Tabor, this is your opportunity. You are drinking from the well of wisdom and genius, and I invite you to drink long and satiate your thirst while you can, because these guys don't make themselves available like this on a free call that often. So it's an incredible opportunity you have. So take advantage of it. What do you want to know? What do you need help with? Or I can flip that around, and Tabor and Brad, what do you feel inspired to, tell people about the benefits they'll get from the program and who they're going to be in 5 weeks after they've gotten the foundations of this radical honesty training?
Well,
Well, I just like it when you talk dirty, Alan, because you always talk about flow and satiation, and so I think it is.
And that's why you're pink, by the way.
Maybe right. It's like I think that one of the things radical honesty will do, it will cause you to have a dirty mind.
Well, you've heard my life story, so there's a lot of reasons
yes.
for a dirty mind. So.
Yeah, there is. Okay. So, Tabor, give a shot about that. What do you think? What do you think the most important thing people ought to get to know before we hang up in 10 minutes?
I was going to say that there's a lot of people out there in the spiritual marketplace, in the personal growth marketplace, selling you a lot of stuff, and it's enough to get a body a little jaded and kind of like, oh boy, another person getting something to me. The truth is that neither Brad and I have any fondness for selling anything, but we do this because this work that we are wanting to share with you is so passionately and deeply held in us. This is not a job. This is not a career. This would have been a bad choice if that was our primary motivation.
But, that's a living. Go ahead.
Yeah, only the get rich part. I mean, I can't complain. I just got back from teaching in Puerto Rico, but the point is we have seen miraculous changes in our own lives and in the lives of lots and lots of other people that we work with, and tell you straight out, this is not a quick fix. This is not like 3 keys to make your partner want to have more sex with you overnight kind of thing. This is about a major lifestyle change, and it's not acquired without a little discomfort. But for the people who have gotten disillusioned with the status quo of their lives and are ready to really turn over a new leaf, it's really amazing what this can accomplish for those who are really committed, and the kind of relationships you can have and the kind of conscious community you can create around yourself. It's really heartwarming, and both of us are convinced that something like this is the next evolutionary leap required of our species if we are to survive, let alone thrive, because the world's problems these days are our problems. They're not a problem over here or a problem over there. They're systemic problems. We are going to have to work this shit out together, or all go down together. And so the ability of people to work creatively with conflict, to hear each other, understand each other, ask for what they want, cooperate, is of enormous importance these days. So it's not just a personal fulfillment issue, it's a collective well-being and survival of the planet issue ultimately.
Yes, thank you. That's right. So I like the quality of the questions people have because they're directing you back to the key of what Tabor's talking about. The key is being able to locate yourself as an experiential being relating to another experiential being, so that you have a being-to-being relationship, and you use your mind to report what you notice rather than to overrule your noticing. That little distinction is of great value. The people who are getting it right now, these are some of the questions. Is wind a noticing or an imagining, Brian says. Katie says, how does holding on to anger manifest itself as heartburn? Brian says, what do you say when you're noticing sounds? I notice a sound and I imagine it's a dog barking. And I notice my lips are touching, or I imagine my lips are touching. The thing is, you notice your lips are touching and you imagine that reporting it will have some effect on you, how much you notice it, and that's true. Ellie says, I've participated with Soldier's Heart, dedicated to help healing the sacred wounds of soldiers and creating spaces where they can share their real experiences. I envision an opportunity to have this work assist in the psychological and spiritual wounds of soldiers. Absolutely. Because the experience that's being avoided is the main problem. They don't want to re-experience some of the terrible things that they had to experience. They ran away from them. They had to not be there with them, and now they have to go back and experience them to completion. And this work does work for that. And the thing is, asking these questions, what's a noticing and what's an imagining, is the very heart of personal transformation. It seems like paying attention is just one of the side things that's not important, and thinking and figuring things out, we've been taught all of our lives, is the most important thing. Actually, the reverse is true. Being able to be an experiential being and get good at it, and through practice, through meditation and group meditation and meditation of honest sharing between people, the meditation called radical honesty, leads to an ongoing transformation of you being centered in your experience, in your body, in the moment, and secondarily worrying about what's going on in your mind and reporting what you figure out. We're shifting over to noticing, sharing, supporting other people, contributing, being able to have a relationship where you're called forth by empathy for other fellow human beings because you notice in your body a ringing likeness to them. And that's what we're working on, and that's what this is about. So it's both a personal transformation and a social transformation at the same time. So when you're moved by someone else's work, you report that to someone else and they're moved by your story. They tell the story of your reporting to them and the other person is moved by it. What happens is a movement occurs because many, many people are moved. And that's what we're doing here. We're allowing people to get out of their own way and get in touch with their own experience and with each other. And that's what this is about. And that's the best sales pitch I got. And so I appreciate you all for all of these questions that you have sent us. We collected all of them from the last time, and we have a stockpile of questions now that we are going to make sure get answered over the course of the workshop itself. And I really appreciate you for tuning in and for participating with us on this. And if it's not already up, it'll be up in a minute. You can sign up for the course. You can get the book called the Radical Honesty Personal Playbook, and you'll be able to get the first two modules, Module 1 and 2, starting tonight. And if you sign up tonight, you can do it on your own. You can use the recordings, do them on your own, and complete through all the sessions, including the 2 webinars with me and Tabor, and the already developed and put in the can modules. Okay, anything else that you can think we need to say, Tabor or Alan?
I would say, listen to your guts about this. If you for whatever misguided reason are not called to join us, then God bless you and be on your merry way. If you feel a resonance and you feel moved or you feel called by what we're saying, then I highly encourage you to join us. I mean, if you do the 2-for-1 offer, that's only $200 to do this 5-week course, which includes live coaching and stuff. You know, we don't when we do individual coaching, you can't. An hour costs more than that. So this is really a cost-effective way to jump into the pool and take a deeper dive. And we would just love to work with you, love to hear more about what you're struggling with, love to give you as much guidance as we can in this format. So really, really hope you'll join us. Love to connect with you in the course of the course. And yeah.
Okay, we'll see you in the course, of course. Thanks. Anything else, Alan? We need to tell anything else to anybody about details?
No, I think we're good. Just I communicated with a couple people that I would email you directly to make sure we resent your logon information. So we'll make sure that happens in about the next 15 minutes, and we'll be double checking to make sure that new module for today is live and ready for you when you invest and sign on, and it'll be there for you.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Tabor. Thank you, everybody that wrote all these questions and talked to us. We're going to polish up our ability to talk to you online on the future modules that we'll do. And we'll see you starting tonight and following through for the whole next 5.5 weeks.
Right, and for those of you who are investing in the course or already signed up, just remember that in 2 nights, Thursday night will be your first Q&A. So read those first parts of the Radical Honesty Playbook, watch those first couple of videos so that you're really ready to come to the Q&A with some real questions, and these guys will coach you personally and help you to the next breakthrough and the next transformation.
All right, thanks. Thank you, everybody.
Adios.
Bye.
Thanks.